Good morning. Happy for you guys to join me. I appreciate y'all. It's Friday and it's another blessed day. Thank you guys for following me. Thank you guys for all the support. I really appreciate it. Want to get right into it. This is episode 14. And I love to talk about thoughts. I always like to talk about how our thoughts control our life. And I know my life changed when I began to focus more on my thoughts, what I'm thinking, why I'm thinking the way I'm thinking, and not being fearful to confront destructive ways of thinking. So this episode is called You Can't Think How You're Thinking, Going Where You're Going. You can't think how you're thinking, going where you're going. And I got this diagram, y'all, I created probably about 5 or 6 years ago. And it really helped me to really explain the power of not just your thoughts, but your beliefs. I believe, our beliefs is the foundation of every thought. If whatever you're thinking is connected to some type of belief, whether you know what that belief is or not. So I created this diagram and I came up with the name, the Standard of Thought diagram. Don't laugh at the name, but came up with it. It seemed to fit at the time. So this came up with maybe 5-6 years ago. But I want to share it. So of course this is a little tree. You see I like to draw, you know what I mean? I got skills. But this is a little tree. This represents pretty much your life. So you're born, of course, and that's the foundation. So we go through life, we develop beliefs about our faith, about God, about yourself, about your potential, and insert whatever belief that you have. I just put these here. We got many beliefs. Some beliefs that we have, they develop unintentionally. You can believe that you are nothing. You can believe that you're worthless. You can believe that you have no potential. You can believe that God only loves you when you do things that you think is acceptable in your eyes. You can become a God to yourself by creating beliefs that's really your own, but you put them on other people or you put them on God. So your life grows out of your beliefs, and then out of those beliefs, you begin to grow. Of course, so this is the stump, of course. So this is where I'm saying this is where your thought life is. So this is where we spend most of our time, I believe. And again, everything I'm sharing is my personal beliefs. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I'm not a professor. Don't got a degree in psychology. I'm just a brother who was serious about breaking free from my own fears and insecurities. And I studied and researched and tried to find out and seek the face of God of how can I break free? How can I be the leader of my family? How can I act in courageousness? How can I lead my wife, lead my family, and become all God is calling me to be? That's why the name of this podcast is called Think Up, because I so needed to think above my circumstances. That's why my goal in this podcast is to help you become the highest expression of who God is calling you to be. And I always love to say highest expression because I believe you can act on a lower expression. You can just be happy that you're a provider. You can be happy that you're not a liar, or you can be happy that you don't drink no more. These are all pivotal moments. I know I told you in my last podcast, I used to be addicted to weed. I was very happy that I didn't smoke anymore. But God began to show me that, okay, that's a blessing. That was a pivotal moment in your life. But now there's more. There's more than just being sober. There's more than just being informed. There's more than just being educated. So this is where I believe we spend most of our time, and this is where I believe we can get lost. We can get lost in our thoughts. You could be thinking about what you're going to do today, what you're going to wear, how people feel about you, where you're going to go, where are you going, what you're going to do next year, what you're going to do 5 years from now. Why did what happened yesterday happen? Why did your parents do this or that in your past? You have all of these thoughts. And what I learned personally is your thought is connected to a belief. And it's better to focus on the beliefs that is empowering. Now, this is my belief again, because we got many beliefs, and some beliefs are self-destructive. Some beliefs can limit you. But I learned that when you focus primarily on the beliefs that can empower you and break you free from all of your insecurities, your fears, the things that you doubt or don't believe about yourself will fall off. I got a quote, and it says, act on your beliefs and your doubts will act like they don't exist. Act on your beliefs and your doubts will act like they don't exist. We all have doubts, But when you focus on your faith, focus on what you're believing God for, focus on what God is doing in your life, those doubts tend to get smaller. And I believe that in every arena in your life. So again, this is where we can get lost. We can get lost focusing on just what we're thinking about. And that's why I like to have this diagram showing, okay, well, that thought is connected to a belief. A belief about faith, your faith, a belief about God, whether you believe in him or not, a belief about yourself, a belief about your potential. And again, you can insert your belief here. And then out of these thoughts, whether they're fruitful or not, they do produce fruit. So of course, this is the leaves right here. This is the fruit. You know, all thoughts produce fruit, even if it's fruit that's poisonous. It's so easy to think, the Bible says that whatever a man sows, that's what you reap. No matter what you sow. So all thoughts produce fruit. So the fruit is a representation of action. So I like to look at fruit as actions. All of your thoughts is connected to a belief, and your beliefs and what you think about most of the time will result in what you do most of the time. It's easy to say, well, I'm fearful. I'm a fearful person, but what's the best way to put it? It's easy to see a character trait in you that you know is not who you are, but you may not like that you act in that way at times where you need to execute. I really like E.T., the hip hop preacher. He says, our emotions, we are emotional creatures. And he was on his podcast, he was talking about how we are emotional creatures. And he made the comment that when it's time to execute, it ain't time to be emotional. Like, you can have fears and insecurities, but when it's time to stand up and be a man, when it's time to stand up and be a woman, that ain't the time to get emotional. That ain't the time to get all deep in how you feel, because we all know how we feel sometimes contradicts action. So these are representation of actions. So your beliefs about faith, about God, about yourself, about your potential, about what you can accomplish, and that grows into your thoughts. All of your beliefs produce your thoughts. And then out of your thoughts, you're going to act. You're going to act on what you're thinking, whether you want to or not, whether you like it or not. So it's very important, y'all, to examine what you believe. Don't examine your thoughts. If you think that you're worthless, what do you believe that's causing you to think you're worthless? If you think you can't accomplish a task that you know you got the potential to do, you know God has anointed you to do, but you're fearful, what belief is causing you to doubt? Procrastination is connected to a type of fear. When you procrastinate, it's either because you're maybe fearful about something, you don't want to do it. It's a belief that's stopping you. Don't procrastinate and be stagnant in your life and think it's just how you are, or this is how my parents was, or that's a lie. It's connected to a belief. Find out what that belief is. I pray this podcast bless you. This is episode number 14, which is gotta look at the board, I forgot. You can't think how you're thinking, going where you're going. Remember that, y'all. I don't know where God is calling you to go, but just know you can't think how you're currently thinking, going where you're going. Because once you get there, you cannot prepare. You're there. You there. I mean, sports is the best way to see it. We see many college players that was great, way better than Brady, when they went to the NFL. But some of them ain't even make it through one game. One guy they were showing, he ain't even make it through 4 games. I forgot his name. But on paper, he was great. Brady was the 199th pick, but yet he had a belief in himself that manifests now when we can see it. But that belief started with what he thought about most of the time, and his thoughts connected to his beliefs caused him to do actions that now we know him as the greatest. But he had to believe he was the greatest when nobody ain't give a darn about him. You gotta believe that you're greater even when people ain't acknowledging your greatness. Nobody has to acknowledge you. Hear me, y'all. Nobody has to acknowledge you Acknowledge yourself. Believe in yourself. Have faith in the God that put you on this earth, that you're greater than your circumstance. You're greater than your fears. You're greater than your insecurities. If you don't believe that, you're not going to think like that. And if you don't think like that, your actions is going to represent failure. You're always going to find yourself in situations where people are taking advantage of you. You're going to find yourself in situations where you allow people to disrespect you because you have no respect for yourself, because your thoughts is not connected to any type of belief that has respect connected to it. I pray this content blessed you. If it did, send me an email, Robert L. Lowry, LOWERY 3@gmail.com. I pray it bless you. You can't think how you're thinking, going where you're going. Have yourself a great Friday and be blessed. Thank you.